Hi, welcome to Round Glass. I'm Jyothi Shyamsunder. I'm so honored to be your guide today, live from India. Today we start a new and important series on what the great teacher, the Buddha, actually taught. This one is very close to my heart, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. I'm so delighted. The Buddha has not only been an inspiration, but he's also been a guiding light to me ever since I started to understand the true meaning of his teachings. A guiding light, like, for the ships where there is a guiding light so that they navigate and don't get lost, just like that. And his teachings have been so universal, non secular, and so experiential. He taught only two things, only two things we need to remember. He taught what causes us to suffer, what causes us suffering, and how do we end the suffering or how do we manage the suffering. And in today's session, you will learn about something called as the universal truths he taught, which are very simple and very, very non secular. Nothing to do with any religion, any philosophy, but just, I would say, the law of nature, right? Here's a question for you. I'm all wondering, so on this beautiful and most important day, I'm wondering, where are you meditating from with me? Which part of this planet? So before we begin, let us calm and kind of center ourselves. Pardon me for the noise because I meditate from a very noisy area. So let's use this as a tool to understand deeply and go deeper into our practice. Right? So let's begin. Let's calm ourselves for just about 4 to 5 minutes, for which you just need to follow my instructions. Right? All right, then. Let's get into a comfortable, easy posture, remembering to keep our backs and our neck straight but still relaxed. Making sure your feet is on the floor. If you're sitting on a chair, your hands resting on the sides of your body or on the lap. Closing your eyes. And for some time, just letting everything around you and inside of you be as it is, as it is. The mind may want to wander, let it wander, not trying to change anything about what's happening. Simply seeking silence, simply sitting. Let's check on our breath, how we are doing. Maybe place your hand on your tummy or the chest and follow the rhythm of your own breathing. If the mind wanders, do not be disappointed or annoyed. Just return to the breathing. That's it. No matter what happens, calmly returning to your breath in this moment. And gently opening your eyes now. I hope you're feeling much calmer, much settled. I see some of you have responded where you're joining from. Thank you for sharing these. Someone says, I'm in my home office in California. Someone is meditating from New Jersey, Los Angeles, New York. Thank you, thank you. So beautiful. So, as we begin today's important meditation, uh, we're going to talk about something called as the simple universal truths, or in the more traditional Buddhism religion or teachings, they call it the Four Noble Truths. Doesn't matter what you call it, but they're the truths. But before we go into the truths, I want to give you a little bit of history, introduction into the great teacher Gautam Buddha. He's been mentioned in so many ways. You might hear people talking about the Buddha here and there. But there must be some important reason that he became so popular. So there must be something really important and really simple that he taught. So, what is that? We will get into that shortly. But it's very important to know a little bit of history about who is this Gautam Buddha. Well, around 2,600 years ago, in the beautiful land of Nepal, in a place called Lumbini, a beautiful child was born. And a great saint called Asita had predicted that either he's going to become a great spiritual teacher or he will become a great king, a conqueror. His father was so scared that he would renounce this world and become a spiritual teacher. So he actually kept Gautam Siddharth, which was his real name. He kept him confined amidst pleasure, joy, so that he doesn't see any kind of suffering or sadness which will make him give up his king life or princely life. But as destiny, nature had it, that many years down the line, after he was married and had a beautiful son called Rahula, he became very curious as to what was there outside these four walls of the palace. So one night, without telling anybody, with his horse and the caretaker, into the midnight, he ventured into the streets of Lumbini. And what he saw really gave him a shock because he saw old age. He saw somebody suffering with fever, cough, and he also noticed somebody angry, getting disappointed, not happy. And he also saw death, right? Somebody dead. So, for his mind, which was used to another side of life, which was joy, pleasure, right? For him, he couldn't understand what was all this. So, there was this shock and there was this confusion. And this made him go out, give up his worldly life and go out in the search of truth, right? And many years after learning under many teachers, he was still not satisfied with what he practiced. And as history says, in a place in North India called Bodh Gaya, he sat under a Bodhi tree, a peepal tree, and he meditated continuously. And that's where he rediscovered the practice of mindfulness, vipassana, for 8 years until he realized the root cause of our suffering and other things. And that's where he actually realized the four universal truths which we all go through, which is common to us as humans, right? So what are these four universal truths? Or simply called law of nature. So he realized that whether we agree or disagree, the fact is that there is suffering. What do I mean by suffering? Well, our stress, our daily anger, disappointment, our addictions. This is what suffering is. Not necessarily just when a tsunami hits, or when there is an earthquake, or when there is a loss, you lose someone. That is suffering, but suffering is also our everyday stress in our personal lives. in our office lives. The second truth is, um, what causes our suffering? Well, our suffering is caused by our own reactions, extreme reactions, which is called craving, and the other is aversion, right? Which we will get into detail in our future sessions. And the third noble truth is that there is an end. We can put an end to this suffering, or there is a way to manage the suffering. That's the good news, isn't it? And the fourth noble truth, or the universal truth is, what is the way to manage the suffering? Well, the way to manage the suffering is through the practice of mindfulness and compassion, right? Which involves something called as the Eightfold Path, which will be detailed in my future sessions. So, this is the Four Noble Truths Gautam Buddha taught. So universal, so non secular, anybody anybody can understand and reflect on this, no matter who you are, right? So beautiful, isn't it? So as we reflect on this, as we let this four noble truths digest, let's just get into a small meditative practice. I will guide you on. So you just have to follow my instructions for the next few minutes. Just like before, just get into a comfortable, dignified posture with your back and your neck straight but still relaxed. Gently closing your eyes, resting your hands on the lap or on the sides of your body, feet on the floor, and giving permission for any stress or strain to leave your body. And for some time, letting everything be what it is, what it is. Now bring your awareness to any sounds that you can hear around you and listen to them calmly, quietly, as they are. Sounds can be people talking, sound of traffic, television, anything, anything. The mind may wander here and there every few seconds very quickly. No problem. Let it wander and come back to the sounds. Sounds as they are, not wishing them to be something else. Just as sounds, just as sounds. Whatever sounds you can easily hear, no forcing, no pressure. Now bring your attention to your own breathing at your belly or the chest. See if you want to keep your hand on your belly or the chest. Let the mind wander and come back on its own to the breath, to the breath. Just the breath, nothing else matters now. Returning to your own breathing again and again. Returning calmly, quietly. Now, gently bring your awareness, attention to your feet on the floor, just noticing the touch. And taking your time now, listening to your mind and body, gently opening your eyes. I hope you liked this short meditative practice just to help us calm down and digest these universal truths. So, going ahead until we meet in our next session, what I invite you to do is really not think about these truths as something Gautam Buddha said or Jyothi Shyamsunder said, but really try and reflect on this and see how it relates to your own personal life. Think about the first noble truth. There is suffering. There will be suffering. So, asking yourself this question: is there stress in my life? Do I feel anger, disappointment? Do I suffer from physical, mental health issues? Ask yourself this, verify. Don't blindly believe the universal truths just because somebody said it. The second, look at your own reasons for these suffering, for the stress. What is causing you to experience stress? And the third noble truth, is there a way for me to manage the suffering? Yes, absolutely, right? Reflect on it. There is hope. Hope is big. If there was no hope, there was no tool to reduce our suffering. God save us. And mindfulness is the path. That's the fourth noble truth, along with the eightfold path, which you will learn in our future sessions. Thank you so much for sharing this time together. And please continue to explore meditations with us. Check out our daily live meditations at round.class or on our app. I will be back with another important session next week. God bless you.